what's interesting, when I first saw hijabs, I always thought they were very pretty, but I did think some of the myths about them, that they were oppressive. But what started to change for me was my third year of college, and this is where I would say my path really towards becoming a Muslim started. So I was on campus, and I saw a girl from one of my Arabic classes who I had seen every day for years at that point. And every day she always wore a simple black abaya like this and a hijab, just very simply wrapped. She never did anything too fancy. And for some reason, that one day when I saw her on campus, I thought to myself, she looks like a princess. And I want to look just like that. And I felt this sort of shock go through me. But then I snapped out of it and I thought, no. I can't look like that. I'm an atheist. I can't look that way. But I couldn't get hijab out of my head. So I told myself, oh, well, if I'm going to go to the Middle East, I'm learning Arabic, I should at least know how to put one on. So I started watching hijab tutorials online, and I started digging into the philosophy of why Muslim women wear hijab. And what I found was that it was actually a very feministic expression. And for me as a feminist, it really resonated with my beliefs, and I found it to be the best way to express myself as a feminist. And this is the way I saw hijab. So essentially, mainstream feminists now, especially those involved in the anti-rape culture movement, have the belief that a woman has a right to her own body, and that someone else doesn't have the right to treat her like a sex object without her consent. What I saw within hijab is that the reason Muslim women wear hijab is because they have a right to their own body, and we have the right not to be treated like sex objects, right? So that underlying idea was the same. The difference was the external manifestation. On one side, you see less clothes, because the idea is, because this is my right, it doesn't matter how I dress, because my rights are due to me. And on this side, the Muslim woman is covered. And so the difference here is, instead of a woman being uncovered and being completely dependent on a man to give her her rights, you're taking it in your own hands. Because even though someone might try to look and might try to treat you like a sex object, they can't. It's a shield. And so I felt like, as a woman who had a right to my own body and didn't want to be looked at inappropriately, didn't want to be treated inappropriately, I just put a hijab on. And I was an atheist feminist. And I felt like that was the best way to express myself as a feminist. And subhanAllah, it had a very powerful effect on me very quickly, and a lot of things I wasn't expecting. So the way I saw myself drastically changed. I used to think I was very ugly. And a lot of Western women, unfortunately, do feel like they're ugly. With all this media, you need the tight clothes, and you need to look so sexy and just paint that makeup on. You never feel pretty enough. You never feel good enough. And I never felt pretty enough for good enough. And I realized once I put on a hijab that the reason that was, it had nothing to do with what I actually looked like. It had to do with the fact that my appearance every day was about everyone else. And when you're about everyone else, you're never good enough. But when I put on a hijab, the way I looked was now about me. And I felt good enough. And it got to the point where I could look at myself in the mirror without makeup and not cringe and turn away. SubhanAllah. And so I kept it, and there was nothing that was going to make me take it off.